So before we get started, tell us about loop. And I know that I said what it meant. Tell us what it means again so that our viewers can understand what that means.
It's loved ones of prisoners. And in 2011, Linda Davis had a tragedy. And she reached out to God and said, what am I going to do with this? And so she started Loved Ones of Prisoners.
Wow.
And then last year, she encouraged us to start a Columbus chapter. So we are now in our 15th month.
Wow.
Of the Columbus chapter.
And you're head of the Columbus chapter. What are your responsibilities?
Well, I want to give the families information that they may not have. And I have an open phone line that they can call me. And some, mothers, if they can't come to the meeting, we have a meeting once a month.
Okay. At
our church, allows us to use their facilities. What's going on in the prison system, encouragement. Our wonderful director, Gary Moore, is working on some fabulous things for the prison system to reform it. He's working on specifically right now to do away with mandatory sentences.
Okay.
Which is just a biggie, And his idea is to stop the mass incarceration. Well, as far as reentry, when an inmate comes home, the state gives them $65 and a sweatsuit. And so if they don't have family, they have to have a place to go, and they have to have some sort of support. Then we have a list of housing and food pantries and people who can help them get their driver's license, get their state IDs, help them get their bus passes, set them up with interviews. We give them gift cards so they can go and buy clothes at Walmart and shoes for their interview. We also have clothes banks that they can go and get 2 outfits from, a casual and something to go to an interview on. We are giving them gift cards to the dollar store so that they can equip their kitchen. And we've paid deposits. And if they have a job, then, we will help them get an apartment. That's part of what we're doing for reentry right now, because we aren't allowed to go into the prisons and meet the families. And the reentry. And they're just 2 wonderful people that are trying to do God's work in the situation they're in.
And so that's the motivation behind Loop?
Yes.
Wow.
And we also visit prisons and the waiting rooms. And we may just walk them through the logistics of signing the papers and signing in here and what there's going to happen next. And then we sit with them and tell them they're not alone.
Aww.
And everyone in Loop has or has had a loved one in prison. So there's no reason to feel ashamed or any other emotion, because we've all been there. And we just want to reach out to those families and love them, because sometimes most of the time they're very distraught.
Right.
In general, it's the poor that are discriminated against. And the reason is they can't afford the attorneys that some other people can. And they can't reach out to their loved ones. I actually have communication with about 12 prisoners, and on a regular basis. And then at Loop, we have a list with all of our loved ones on there, and each of us send cards and things to each other's loved ones.
Oh.
I reached out to a couple of them when I got this call and asked for their opinion, and they said that prison is the most segregation that they've ever lived in, and that it's the most prejudiced
that they've ever experienced in their life. And a lot of these young men, have grown up with prejudice, but they're experiencing it worse in prison.